First of all, do you believe this as a major tool? Is it a flawed tool?
I'm going to let the content specialist answer that question.
Pass it up.
I'm talking about procedures. He's the content.
Okay.
I am going to be honest, and my answer is no. I don't believe it's a flawed tool to the point where we would need to replace the text. I think that, pieces that may be missing, that is certainly something that we can address.
Maybe I should act as a lawyer. Yes or no, is it a flawed tool? In any manner, shape, or form?
I'm just thinking like any good lawyer before they would answer a question. It's not perfect.
Okay, well that tells me it is flawed. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but I believe also words can hurt. And it's been pointed out by Ms. Nisi, who read the entire book, and I haven't, I can admit to that the subtlety of words, especially knowing the Islamic goal for the world, is such that they want to take over. That's been announced time and again. We've heard board members on special occasions through the last couple of weeks, through emails and phone calls, from people that have lived and fought in other countries under Islamic rule, veterans of wars, current and past, that have lived and seen what has actually come from Islamic rule, whether it be jihad or otherwise. Those concerns bother me in the sense of this textbook. However subtle it may be, it's still sending a message. And that message is going to very young minds, 9th graders, 15-year-old children, who may take it verbatim, may take it for fact that this is the truth. And a tool, major tool, that is not flawed, that is not biased, and that does not send subtle messages that Islam is the way to go for world peace. I don't see that. Thank you for that. But anyway,
here to point fingers or say that the school board has done or is doing anything wrong whatsoever. I am here to bring something to your attention and ask that you work on this or partner with me. I'm willing to give my resources to you to try to come to some conclusion. I know that the state has some negligence in this as well, and I'm simply here to bring awareness both to the board and to the public. We as Americans ourselves on not filtering history to make our country look better. History should be just that. It should just be history. It should not favor one country, one set of beliefs, or one religion over another. The book that we use for world history, called the Prince Hall, Florida edition, unfortunately shades history in order not to offend a certain section of history, a certain group in history. The special treatment of Islam consists, the point is that Islam is in quite favorable light in this book and takes up a great deal of your book, whereas Christianity and Judaism take up a very small section and is not shown in such a good light. The special treatment of Islam consists of devoting many more pages to Islam when compared to any other religion in an approximate ratio of 72 to 1. Chapter 10, Muslim Civilization, starts on page 116 and runs to 151. In contrast, there's no such chapter on Christianity or Judaism. Christianity and Judaism are mentioned in several areas of the book, usually a paragraph embedded in another chapter. An example would be on page 7. There's 3 paragraphs on Judaism under the title Roots of Judaism, and then Greece, Roman, and the Rise of Christianity. There's a page entitled The Rise of Christianity. Our children deserve better. Our children deserve facts and accuracy, not historical revision, not history being revised for our own failure or lack of desire to offend one culture over another. I'm going to give you a couple quick examples, and hopefully it'll stir some emotion, just to show you the unbalanced approach. Because you can't talk about world history without talking about Christians and Jews and Muslims. They have changed the face of this globe, those 3 major religions. Under the Crusades, we talk about fighting the losing battle as a subject. It says they capped their victory with a massacre of Muslim and Jewish residents of the city. That's when the Christian Crusaders finally overtook Jerusalem. Capped it with a massacre of the Muslims. In contrast, is it pronounced Hajar, was a turning point for Islam. In Medina, Muslim converts welcomed Muhammad and agreed to follow his teaching. They became a community of Muslims. This textbook fails to mention that the Jewish clans in Medina did not wish to convert and were massacred. It leaves it out. But don't worry, the Christians, they massacred folks. Apparently the Muslims did not. I don't want to talk about the bad things the Muslims did and not talk about the bad things the Christians did, but if we're going to talk about how horrible the Christian Crusaders were, perhaps you might want to mention that tens of thousands were murdered by followers when he took over that city. And I think my time is up, so I'll be very brief. The 3 paragraphs on the rise of Christianity talks about that Jesus proclaimed himself to be a Messiah, whereas the sub-paragraphs say Muhammad becomes a prophet, Muhammad becomes the God's messenger, etc. And I'll stop when I see the red light. And there are more examples of completely unfair treatment. 36 pages, the Muslims, 3 paragraphs, Christianity. All I'm asking is that if we're going to talk about world history, let's do it fairly.
Good morning. My name is Dr. William A. Saxton, and I am Chairman of Citizens for National Security, an all-volunteer, nonprofit, 501c3 public charity. Thank you for allowing me these few minutes. I am here to support the emerging opposition to the county's use of the 2000 World History textbook, known as World History, by Ellis et al., published by Pearson Prentice Hall. Our organization has performed research on K-12 history and geography textbooks for over 4 years and published the results in 2 landmark documents. We have found considerable bias, misleading and incorrect information, and omissions in the content of many textbooks used or proposed to use in Florida public schools. As a result of our influence, one of the most egregious of all Islam-biased textbooks, known as World History, Patterns of Interaction, was rejected by the Palm Beach County School District, and the content of another, World Geography and Cultures, corrected pursuant to our recommendations. With regard to the World History textbook that you are now using in Brevard County, we have found this textbook biased in favor of Islam at the expense of Christianity and Judaism, similarly biased against Israel, and to contain misleading and incorrect information. Over a year ago, a meeting was organized by curriculum specialists in Palm Beach County to address the biased and flawed content in this particular textbook with the publisher and with members of our organization. I personally participated. After 4.5 hours, solely on Israel-Palestinian and Arab-Israeli issues, there was unanimous agreement on more correct language by all present. As a result of our recommendations, the publisher was required to reprint the textbook with the changes. And that book, by the way, is now available to any Florida school district. Unfortunately, notwithstanding the marathon session that was the basis for this unprecedented action, we never even got to the most egregious part that occurred in the voluminous section on Islam, previously referred to by the previous speaker. So, we still have more issues to be resolved with the reprinted version. Some of these additional flaws that still need to be addressed in Palm Beach County, and certainly here in Brevard County, are summarized in a handout that I will leave with you. In short, you are using here in Brevard County an Islam-biased, flawed textbook that has neither been partially nor fully corrected. Therefore, I strongly recommend that you consider.
I'm a chapter leader for an organization called Act for America, and I also work closely with another organization, the United West, and we focus with almost tunnel vision on the threat of Islam and Sharia. I don't want to go into an umbrella situation, but the items that were covered previously we consider to be really a serious issue, and the textbook as it stands right now certainly is not factual, and it's not what our students, children should be learning. We're not, the two organizations that I work with are not hate organizations. Recently at Act for America, I have had two prominent Muslim speakers address my membership. I've had Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, a nationally known devout Muslim who's been invited to speak in front of Congress, and I've had the U.S. National President for the Ahmadiyyan Muslim community, a worldwide Muslim community, both of which oppose radical Islam, and we addressed many of the things that the textbook does. And I'd just like to point out that those people like myself and many others that focus on this subject, we're not haters, and we don't have a problem with Muslims.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm Colonel Retired Bill Prince. I've been in and out of the Middle East for over 30 years. I've worked in some 11 or 12 different countries in the Middle East. And after 9/11, deployed between Iraq and Afghanistan, I think 11 times. I've got a good bit of time in that part of the world, and I have fought shoulder to shoulder with my Muslim brothers. I've also fought radical Islam for a number of years now. And it is my considered opinion that the textbooks that our students are using in Brevard County do not give a balanced view. I think it's fine to explain the 5 pillars of Islam, that's great. But for us to whitewash some of the really terrible things about especially radical Islam does a great disservice to our students. We need to provide them a balanced view of this, especially considering all the problems we're facing in that part of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.